number is expected to rise given how early it is and how fluid the situation is. The quake produced a 30-foot high wall of water that crashed over 1,300 miles of Japan's coastline and set off alerts worldwide. The tsunami literally swallowing up homes, boats, cars, and anything else in its path. The hardest hit areas from fields near the Pacific. Take a look at this. Flames here shooting sky high at a local oil refinery. Some of the nation's most important oil facilities are crippled right now. Look at these pictures. Take a look at that. Here's a view from inside different office buildings and businesses, showing the violent jolts from the quake as it hit. Look at this. We forget about the earthquake, the 8.9 earthquake, never mind the tsunami that followed. The tsunami is so devastating. But imagine even an 8.9 earthquake. Buildings shaking, people were shocked, trying to find cover under their desks, in the doorways, anywhere. Japanese police say that they have found hundreds of bodies in one of the hardest hit areas. The death toll is expected to rise. We're also getting new reports of victims trapped under debris. Trace Gallagher monitoring all of it from our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
And Megan, the pictures really are unlike anything we have ever seen. You talked about the death toll. It really may be weeks before we get an idea of the true death toll. And to kind of give you an idea of just how powerful this quake was, look at this. This is in Tokyo, Megan, hundreds of miles from the epicenter. Just listen, if you will, for a few seconds of this grocery store and what's going on. Play this. For more than a minute, and again, hundreds of miles away from the epicenter, the 8.9 magnitude earthquake. It also caused a 30-foot tsunami we have talked about. Imagine, if you will, a massive wall of water filled with mud and debris and cars, and that tsunami wave pushed 3 miles inland, going some 500 miles per hour. Now, you know, the debris inside the water is every bit as dangerous as the water itself. In fact, back in the Asian tsunami, most of the victims didn't die because they drowned. They died of blunt trauma because of the debris. So far, 300 bodies have been found in Sendai alone. 500 more are missing. A ferry boat with 100 passengers is missing. A train filled with passengers is now missing. Across the area, there are still hundreds of fires that are still burning, and you touched on that nuclear power plant. 3,000 people have now been evacuated from that nuclear power plant around that area because now the minister, the labor minister, says that there is a possibility of a radiation leak coming from that nuclear facility, and as you heard the president say, help from the United States is on the way to try and secure that. Now, more pictures coming in from highways. Take a look at the buckled highways. And these are the major roads that lead out to those coastal areas, which of course makes the evacuation, the recovery, and the rescue all that much more difficult because people just can't get out to those coastal areas, making the rescue, of course, almost impossible. It is amazing the magnitude of the quake. You know, Megan, we think a lot in this country about earthquakes, and we always base them on San Francisco. That was 6.9 back in 1989. We remember the damage that did. This was 8.9. Consider this. The earthquake today in Japan was 3,000 times stronger than the earthquake that hit San Francisco back in 1989. It gives you an idea, some context about just what the Japanese people are now dealing with as far as the enormity of the damage.
Wow. And they say it's the 5th largest in the world in the 1900s. I mean, that is what they are dealing with today. Trace, thank you.
Okay.
These images coming in are unimaginable. You take a look at the terrifying moments when the quake hit. This camera shaking out of control, buildings and homes rattling from the ground up. People literally running for their lives. These boys hunkering down on a field with a look of fear and confusion on their faces. What do you do when you're outside as an 8.9 earthquake hits? Surprise inside of some office buildings as walls shook, cabinets fell. You can see someone holding on to an elderly man in this video. It is terrifying. And we've got tons of pictures coming in, folks, both video and still shots, and we're posting what we can on foxnews.com if you want to check it out. As the show goes on, we'll try to keep all the latest information, including pictures and video there as well. Meantime, another Fox News alert. Bad news just coming in from California. We're getting the first reports of damage now to a California city from this earthquake. This is new. It is coming from a spot called Crescent City, California. I'm going to go back to Trace for a moment on this. Trace, I'm told that you just confirmed some of this and what's happening in Crescent City.
We did, Megan. I mean, we're looking at 10:35 in the morning here. We thought the damage or the danger was done. Now we're saying that Crescent City, the officials say, the wave that hit Crescent City was 8 feet, a little over 8 feet now, and we're hearing the police chief up there says there are more than a dozen, as many as 25 boats that have been destroyed, and there are reports we're getting of homes in that area of Crescent City that have also been destroyed. Keep in mind, this is 20 miles south of the Oregon border, about 350 miles north of San Francisco, and the entire city of Crescent City was built along the harbor, which is why it is so susceptible to tsunamis. Back in 1964, it was hit with a tsunami, 21-foot wave that killed 11 people. That was from the Valdez, Alaska earthquake that was 9.2. And now we're getting more information that most, if not all, of the people who were along that harbor have evacuated, but that homes and boats in Crescent City have now been destroyed. We are expecting to get video in sometime in the next several minutes. When we get that and more information, we'll bring that to you, Nick.
All right, thank you, Trace.